45 seconds, and probably go for launch.
T-minus 30 seconds.
Stage 1, final flight press.
Minus 15, stand by for terminal count. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Stage 1 prop looks good.
Power telemetry nominal.
You're watching the Falcon 9 rocket as it ascends through the atmosphere, carrying the EchoStar 105 SES-11 payload to Geostationary Transfer Orbit after a successful liftoff from Kennedy Space Center in Florida.
Vehicle supersonic.
In about 10 seconds, the rocket is going to be passing through the period of maximum aerodynamic pressure that is called max Q. Those 9 Merlin engines currently thrusting produce the thrust of 5 747s at full thrust. That's how much power the Falcon 9 is producing right now.
And back engine shell started.
In about 30 seconds, those 9 Merlin engines are going to shut off an event called MECO, which stands for Main Engine Cutoff. Once MECO happens, there'll be 2 other very quick succession stages happening after that. The first is going to be the stage separation, where the first stage separates from the second stage and comes back towards the drone ship. And then after that, second engine start 1, which is when the Merlin vacuum engine on the second stage ignites to carry the payload the rest of the way to orbit. Stand by for MECO very soon.
We have MECO.
Stage separation.
And back ignition.
You can hear the applause from Mission Control. It looks like that we had a successful MECO, main engine cutoff, successful stage separation, and a successful start of the Merlin vacuum engine on the second stage. For those of you just joining us, on the left-hand side, you can see the first stage of the Falcon 9 rocket currently expanding its grid fins, getting ready for its ascent or descent back down through the atmosphere. And on the right-hand side of your screen, you can see the engine nozzle of the Merlin vacuum engine on the second stage. In about 10 seconds, we're going to see the fairing, which is protecting the EchoStar 105 SES-11 payload, deploy from that second stage. There it is. And you just saw a successful deployment of the fairing. Fairing is only needed while in the dense region of the atmosphere to protect it from aerodynamic loads. Now that we're out of the atmosphere, we can jettison it.
Acquisition of signal Bermuda.
You can see those cold gas thrusters on the left-hand side of your screen. Those help orient the first stage of the rocket so that it's pointed in the right direction as it comes back down through the atmosphere. So that first stage is currently pretty high up in the atmosphere. It's still, the gas of the atmosphere is still very thin up there. So as it approaches the much thicker parts of the atmosphere lower down, it's going to execute an entry burn in about a minute and a half. This entry burn is going to slow the rocket down so that as it hits the thicker parts of the atmosphere, it doesn't experience any excessive heating from compression of the atmosphere. When on the launch pad, the Falcon 9 rocket is actually, the weight of the Falcon 9 rocket is actually about 90% fuel. So right now that first stage is mostly empty, having expended most of its fuel to get the second stage up to orbit. That first stage, therefore, because it's so light, doesn't really need that much thrust to slow down. Those Falcon 9, the Merlin engines actually operate at full thrust regardless of how much fuel is in the rocket. So the entry burn is only about a minute long. 20 seconds long. Entry burn is only about 20 seconds long, starting in about a minute. Currently we're getting good telemetry back from the first stage and the second stage. Trajectory is good for both. And the engine chamber on the Merlin vacuum engine is holding steady. We should be seeing the entry burn of that Falcon 9 first stage on the left-hand side of your screen in just about 10 seconds.
Stage 1 AFTS has taped.
And there is that entry burn beginning.
Stage 1 entry burn is started.
Still getting good telemetry from the second stage as it continues to climb, carrying that EchoStar 105 SES-11 payload to its intended geostationary transfer orbit. We had a good entry burn, and the first stage is still on track to touch down on the deck of Course I Still Love You in the Atlantic Ocean.
Drone ship AOS.
So we don't currently have signal from that first stage, but it is scheduled to start its landing burn in just about
Stage
30
1 is
seconds.
transferred.
Currently the second stage, as you can see on your screen right now, is still burning happily. We have good telemetry from the second stage. Still on course for geostationary transfer orbit.
Stage 1 landing burn is started.
Stage 2 AFTS has taped.
This is video from the drone ship, Of Course I Still Love
Landing
You.
legs have deployed.
And a brief cutout in video there, but as you can see, Falcon 9 rocket is currently standing on the deck of Course I Still Love You. Yet another successful landing of the Falcon 9 first stage. This is our 18th successful landing of the Falcon 9 rocket. We also had a confirmation of a good second engine cutoff. This is currently right now, the second stage of the rocket is in a coast period. This coast period is going to last about 20 minutes, but we're not going anywhere. We're just going to give you a quick animation showing exactly where the second stage of the payload is over the surface of the Earth. But we'll be back in just about 20 minutes to guide you through the rest of the second stage burn and payload deploy. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. We are currently watching the second stage of the Falcon 9 rocket carrying EchoStar 105 SES-11 as it passes over the equator just over the west coast of Africa. We are coming up on our second light of the second stage engine. This is called SES-2 in just about 40 seconds. This second stage engine second burn is going to bring our velocity up from about 7.4 kilometers per second to 9.5 kilometers per second. This second burn is only going to last about 1 minute, coming up in about 15 seconds. You're looking at live video feed from the second stage of the rocket. Stand by for second stage engine light. And there it is, a successful relight of that second stage engine. Currently, that Merlin vacuum engine is putting out 210,000 pounds of thrust, which adds a lot of impulse to a mostly empty second stage tank. We're getting great telemetry from the burn. Turbine is healthy. Engine chamber pressure is good. And the engine output power is also good. SpaceX has ground stations around the world. We are currently receiving good telemetry from the rocket, but video data doesn't always come down as smoothly as expected. So currently we're watching an animation. And it looks like a good burn. We're having telemetry looks good. Orbit is looking good from that second stage after that second stage engine burn. So right now, the next step in this mission is to deploy the EchoStar 105 SES-11 payload. However, that doesn't happen for about 8 or 9 minutes from now. So we're going to go back to the animation and watch the second stage and payload circle the Earth. We will be back in about 8 minutes to guide you through the deployment of the payload. Welcome back again. For those of you just joining us, just a few minutes ago we had a successful second burn of the second stage engine, which gave the payload, the EchoStar 105 SES-11 payload, its final kick, getting towards Geostationary Transfer Orbit. Coming up in just about 40 seconds is the final stage of the Falcon 9's mission today, which is deployment of that satellite. Currently the EchoStar 105 SES-11 satellite, which you can see on your screen right there, is attached to the Falcon 9 second stage via a payload adapter fitting, which includes some bolts and springs. When we give the command in about 20 seconds, those bolts will release and the springs will give the satellite a gentle push from the nest so it can begin its journey the rest of the way towards Geostationary Transfer Orbit. So stand by for payload deploy in about 10 to 20 seconds. On your screen, you can see that satellite now.
Payload deployed confirmed.
And there it is. You can see the EchoStar 105 SES-11 satellite successfully deployed from the top of the Falcon 9 second stage, gliding away into space. So with that, we are going to bring this webcast to a close. We'd like to thank our customer, both EchoStar and SES, for supporting this launch today. Also, a big thank you to the U.S. Air Force Range and the FAA for supporting us today for this launch. And we'd also like to thank you, the viewer, for tuning in. If you'd like to be part of the mission here at SpaceX, please check out spacex.com/careers and look to our social media pages and website for information on future launches. Thank you so much.